Tarps Off Sports.
This is Sergio with Tarps Off Sports. I am joined by UFC featherweight / lightweight Justin Jaynes. How you doing?
Hey, Sergio, I'm doing good, man. How you feeling?
Not too bad. So I said featherweight / lightweight because you've been bouncing around, man. You just fight wherever. You're making your way back down to featherweight. How are you feeling about that choice to go back down?
I'm feeling good about it, man. The only thing I really needed, is the correct preparation time and the correct fight camp. And I feel going down to featherweight, getting a full 8 weeks, everything's going to fall in place. My weight's good. My cardio's good. My strength is good. I'm feeling better than I've ever felt. I'm ready to take it to Charles Rosa on June 26th.
I know that last time, the first time we spoke, you said I'll fight in the UFC for free if I have to. Here we are. A year later, you fought 5 times. Well, you're going to come up on your 5th fight here, and most of these have been on short notice. Once you reach the UFC, why not say, you know what, I'm going to do this the right way, take some time off, pick and choose, make sure you have the proper training camps and everything. What went behind the decision to just accepting short notice fight after short notice fight?
Honestly, I just like to compete, man. The old saying, out of sight, out of mind is true, man. I'm gonna fight as much as possible, as long as I'm not injured, as long as I feel confident in my cardio. Honestly, what it comes down to is as long as I can make weight, let's fight. That's why, I've done at 55. I fought Devontae Smith at 160, Gavin Tucker 145. This will be at 45. Frank Camacho 55. He missed weight. Yeah, dude, as long as I can make weight, I'm feeling good. I'm ready to go, man. I want to stay in the eye. I want to stay in the public eye. I want to see what I can do in the UFC. Obviously the longer training camps, benefit me more. But with that being said, I said from day one, I said to you before I got signed is I'll fight anybody, anytime, anywhere. And, that's how it is. There's already been 2 fallouts during this fight camp where I called my manager. I was like, hey, dude, there's an opening this week. Let's go. I applied for the Cowboy Cerrone fight at 170. Unfortunately, they already had found a replacement. But I just love to compete, man. And it's not that, when I say I love to fight, it's not like I love it so much like I want to go to a bar and fight. I just love testing my skill and my knowledge against some of the best fighters in the world, man. And I know I've come up short the last couple times, but this time with the full preparation, you're going to see a real and true, fully furbished Justin Jaynes in the cage this time.
I know having guys like Roman Isbell and Dennis Davis, et cetera, that entire team there, Extreme Couture, do they have to pull you back at all and be like, look, man, let's, you're on a 3-fight losing streak. Let's do this the right way. Let's get a proper training camp. Or are they all in? It's like, Justin wants to fight. Let's get him a fight.
Dennis is, I've almost directed him as that guy that has to tell me which fights to take and which fights not take. Because again, I don't give an F, man. I just want to show up. I want to sling some leather. I want to hear the crowd go crazy. Unfortunately, I haven't fought in front of a crowd yet. But, I just love it so much, man. I have this would be like my 73rd MMA fight. I just back to just love to compete, man. It's fortunately, like I said, I told Dennis that, even prior to getting the UFC that he had to pull me back because there's a couple times where I took some dumb fights, and especially looking back, realizing that, it really hurt my career taking these short notice fights against tough guys. Now that we're in the UFC, I've accomplished, my main goal of getting here. And now my next goal is to, get a couple of wins in a row. I really feel Charles Rosa is a great matchup. I feel his strengths are grappling and wrestling, and, he has some power in his hands. But, like I said, going against a full in shape, ready to go Justin Jaynes is going to be tough for anybody.
No, that was my next question. Charles Rosa, obviously very dangerous on the mat, but the last few fights have mainly been, you've lost due to power strikes, I guess, so to speak. And he's not necessarily known as a powerful striker. He doesn't have any TKOs in the UFC. Do you think that plays to your advantage?
Yeah, man. Yes and no. I'm fighting for bonuses, man. I want to knock this guy's head off. I want to collect my 50K or 75K at the end of the day. He's going to try and slow the pace down and make it a methodical grappling match. And, honestly, I try to look at it from a fan's perspective. Who are they going to root for? They want to see someone that's going to try and make it a slow, boring fight, or they're going to see Justin Jaynes come there throwing hands, trying to knock everybody's head off anytime he gets a chance. So, I know there are fans out there that like the grappling and the wrestling aspect, but when it comes down to brass tacks, when it comes down to how I get paid and when I get paid, it's going to be because I'm throwing hands.
Do you think that having that sort of style is something that the UFC looks at, even though you are on a 3-fight losing streak? They're like, you know what, this guy fights. He accepts short notice fights. He loves it. He brings it every time. And do you think that that's, because of that, your back may not be up against the wall in this one?
I do feel my back is against the wall, but pressure's my pleasure, man. The UFC is keeping me around. People like to watch me fight. All my fights are exciting. Unfortunately, I again lost 3 in a row. Me and Gavin Tucker, I thought that was fight of the night. Benitez, man, that was just a heartbreaker. I felt so great going into that fight. And then my last fight again, 3-day notice against a very tough, powerful striker, Devontae Smith. I just want to take it to everybody I can, and hopefully I hit them harder than they hit me, and I can keep my job. But I'm telling you what, I do believe my back is against the wall. I do believe my job's on the line, and honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. I love the feeling. I love the pressure. There's times where I'm laying in bed and it's like, oh, I'm gonna skip this training session. It's like, nah, job's on the line, boy. Get your ass up, go get your miles in, go do what you got to do to make sure we're getting the weight off, to make sure that we're ready to knock Charles Rosa's head off.
My next question is about Extreme Couture. I mean, right now it's probably the best gym, if not one of the best gyms in the world right now. What's the secret there? I mean, I feel like every time there's a new card, there's a new fighter coming up. Whether it's Juan Camilo Ronderos, Blanca Marquez just made her pro debut as well. What's the secret? What's going on there at Extreme Couture?
I just think that it's such a big gym. I mean, we're talking about a 20,000 square foot gym. And we have some of the best instructors and the best coaches and the best training partners in the world. On any given day, you can come in there. If you're a heavyweight, you got Francis Ngannou, the UFC champion. You have several heavyweights from Bellator. You have several other, bigger guys coming in, man. The list I could just name goes on, but I think it's just the body count, man. Honestly, I think that's what's different, from our gym to most. I mean, right now, my third guy in the corner is Jake Shields. You can't get any better grappling than Jake Shields. To me, he's one of the best, if not the best, grappler in the history of the UFC. Went to decision with George St. Pierre and didn't even grapple in the fight. So, I just think it's the diversity of we've all come from different places. I'm from Michigan, Dennis Davis, from Oregon, Roman Isbell, he's from Arizona. I'm not really sure where Jake's from, but, we just we learned, from our ways. I got a Midwest wrestling style when, a Roman has more of a Western wrestling style, and there is differences. There's different defenses, there's different offenses, there's different, attack parts. So we're bringing all those pieces together and we're putting them into one gym, and that's basically why I came here. Michigan has some great coaches, some of the best, I think, in the world. But the problem I had with training in Michigan is there will be one person in Detroit, then one person in Pontiac, and then one person in another place. So you have to drive, an hour to 2 hours sometimes in a day just to get your boxing in, to get your grappling in, and then to get your MMA in. When I come to Extreme Couture, I can do it all here every day.
That leads me into this next one. I mean, what is it you're going to do different this camp? I mean, obviously you talked about Jake Shields. Jake Shields is huge. But what sorts of changes have you made in this camp compared to your past few fight camps?
I mean, the answer is very, very simple, and it's just time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to fight the best fighters in the world, but even on a week or two notice, like when I fought Gavin Tucker, like, unfortunately, 2 minutes into the first round, I was fucking gassed, man. When they called me, I remember when Jason House called me, and I know these are excuses, and I hate to be the guy that's like, oh, well, this is why I lost. No, I mean, they are excuses, but they are circumstances. Trying to, when Jason House called me, my manager, I was 178 pounds, and the fight was in 3 weeks. So I went from 178. I told him I was going to show up. I told him I was going to make weight. Man, that weight cut was the hardest thing I've ever done. I was crying on the mat. Dennis Davis and Roman pushing me to make sure I make weight. I make weight. My body just couldn't recover quick enough. 3 weeks just wasn't enough time to get down to featherweight. The Benitez fight, similar situation. I had COVID all through November, and then I fought him on December 4th. So although I had, 2 weeks of training, I literally just got off COVID, and so did he. And I just don't think my body was ready to compete there. But again, when the UFC calls, I answer, and I always answer, and I'll continue to always answer. I'm going to make weight. I'm going to show up and get everything I have at that time. There's no cutting corners when it comes to me. I always show up and I give it everything I have, no matter what kind of shape I'm in.
I love that, and I think a lot of fans love people with that sort of mentality. Does it frustrate you at all when you see other guys, pulling out of fights or people not accepting short notice fights? As someone who's willing to do that 24/7, does it frustrate you?
Not at all. Not in a single bit. I love when guys pull out of fights because it gives me more opportunity to fight more. I see guys pull. It's like, fuck, I call him. I mean, you can talk to Jason House, my manager, dude. This guy, I'm fucking hungry, man. Every time I see a follow, hey, Jace, we'll fight. We're ready to go. Hey, put my name in. Cerrone, I'm in the middle of a training camp getting down to 145. I saw Cerrone's opponent pull out. I had the text thread. Fucking, hey, Jason, I'm ready to go. I'm under 170 pounds right now. Sign me up. I'll go right now. And another one I wanted to get, Drakkar Klaus got injured against Jeremy Stevens, and unfortunately, call that fight 2 days earlier. I'm jumping into that motherfucker too. I'll fight Jeremy Stevens. I think that's what an incredible opportunity that would have been. One of the legends of the sport, especially going on 155. I could have made weight. I could have showed up, and me and Jeremy could have got in there and banged it around a little bit. Unfortunately, Drakkar didn't pull out till Saturday, and but again, I love when guys pull out. I love when guys miss weight. I love when guys make excuses, because while they're making excuses, I'm raising my hand. And Dana's going to see me every time, or Sean's going to see me every time, or Mick's going to see me every time, because, again, my hand's raised. Hey, I'm right here, boys. I'm ready to go.
Yep, exactly. About a month ago, a bunch of pictures circulated. Conor, McGregor. Anyway, a bunch of UFC fighters were posting pictures of them holding some fish. As someone who's a fisherman in their own right, not just catching fish, but sharks, you've ridden a whale. What's your thoughts on all these people's pictures?
Hey, man, it's cute. When I see Conor McGregor pulling his little weak ass fish out, it's like, I remember when I used to fish in my mom's pond and catch some bluegill and some perch. I'm a fucking man. I catch big fish and I shoot big animals, man. That's all there is to it. I'm the best fisherman in the UFC. If I had to say anybody could compete with me, it'd be Clay Guida or Chad Mendez, and Chad doesn't compete in the UFC anymore. So I think honestly the true title remains between me and Clay. And I tell you what, one of these days, me and Clay are going to cross paths in the cage, and the loser is going to have to take the winner on a fishing trip. And after I clean the house with Charles Rosa, I'm calling out Clay Guida, and I'm telling him that he's taking me on a fishing trip after I beat him too.